These are the plaintiffs, Matthew and Carolyn Matskin. Matthew says they hired the defendant to paint their house, foolishly paid in advance, and the guy didn't finish the job. They told him they wanted the fronted money back. The guy refuses, so here they are at the People's Court. They're suing for $800, the amount they paid the crooked defendant. This is the defendant, Theodore Villegas. He says he unfortunately slipped on ice and hurt his back, laying him up for about 3 months. He had every intention of finishing the job, considering he painted every other room in the plaintiff's house with only the kitchen remaining. The plaintiffs became very nasty and rude towards him, and with all the extras he did for them, he feels they owe him money. He's accused of getting painted into a corner. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $2.44, the remaining balance on the extra work.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Matthew and Carolyn Matson, you are suing Theodore Villegas, doing business as Ted's Painting and Home Repair, for $767.56 that you say you paid him to paint your kitchen that he never painted. You have a counterclaim against them for $2.44 that you say in the final analysis, after all is said and done, they owe you money. Okay, Mr. Matson, go ahead and tell me what happened.
My wife and I bought a new condominium, and so I called him. I said, would you want to bid on this job? And he says, sure. So my wife and I met him at the condominium, showed him what we want, which was basically paint the whole condominium, closets, bathrooms, and so forth. And he agreed that he would do it. He gave us a price of $2,300, and so we gave him the job. We said, do you want the job? And he took it. Mr. Villegas was able to paint the entire condo except for the kitchen. The kitchen couldn't be touched until the actual title to the house passed to us.
Wait, I don't understand. Had you closed or you hadn't?
No, not yet.
So why are you painting the condo you don't own?
Well, it was my aunt's condo. We knew we were going to buy it, and she allowed it. The estate, my aunt had passed away. The estate allows us to do the work.
Why was the kitchen different from the living room in terms of like when it could be painted?
For some reason we don't know. They said you can't touch the kitchen and the cabinets until the house passes title.
Oh, because you were actually going to pull out the cabinets?
Yes.
And put in new cabinets. Were you doing that kind of structural work? Well, that's not structural. Were you doing that kind of work anywhere else in the house or not really?
No, just there.
Maybe that's why.
There,
Maybe it's,
yeah.
all right. In any event, you're ready for him to paint the kitchen and he can't. And why can't he paint the kitchen?
Well, he apparently, I understood he hurt his leg, tripped and hurt his leg. And
what happened to you?
I was carrying a dresser and I slipped on the ice. I was out of work for over 3 months.
What happened to you? Like, what did the doctor say?
I never went to the doctor.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I never go to the doctor.
You just don't like doctors? You didn't even go to the emergency room?
Nope.
Nothing?
I never do.
Just stayed in bed for 3 months?
No, I stayed in bed for 2 months.
2 months.
And I was able to hop around for the other month.
Hop around for the, how you doing now? You still hopping?
Yeah, it's a
Hop
little tough.
along or no, you're good?
It's a little tough. I just went back to work.
All right, now there's no question you did not do his kitchen, right?
Right.
All right, now, you finally end up hiring somebody else to do the kitchen.
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, and you have filed a lawsuit to get $800 back of the $2,300, and how do you come up with that figure?
We don't mind spend. We had a quote from him for $2,300, which we paid him in total, and then the new expenses were the $600 for the second painter and the $50 for removal of an old refrigerator.
All right, I have a question. Is there anything in writing between you two, like the original? Is there an original contract between you two for the $2,300?
Yes.
Yes.
Can I see it?
Yes, you can, Your Honor.
Is it itemized? Does it say how much it was going to be charged for each room?
I have that.
You have that. You have a piece of paper with the breakdown, but
Yes.
when did you write that?
The day I estimated.
Wait, I don't want you to get hurt in here. You right?
Would you ever pay a construction worker up front?
No,
Because?
because I don't know what type of service he's going to do. You have to wait and make sure that what you wanted.
Fair enough, fair enough. Why is it a really bad idea to pay up front, ma'am?
Because you have to trust the quality of the person, and if you haven't seen the quality before or can't talk to anybody, you're wasting your money.
And he may slack off if he gets the money beforehand, going inside the courtroom.
So did you give them that?
No, that's for my records.
Okay,
But
so
then they
this
asked
isn't part
for-
of your contract.
they asked for
the
a copy.
contract has. I knew it. It just says it'll be $2,300 to do the whole thing. That's what it says. And then, did you ever see this?
No. No.
Okay. So, and you picked the figure 800. Why? Because that was your last installment.
Right. He did.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, this isn't. But the kitchen, I saw what it is that he painted. What he is there? Tell me if this is incorrect. He paints the master bedroom, 2 master bedroom closets, the master bath, the bathroom hall, the front door hall, a bathroom number 2, a laundry room, a second bedroom closet, 2 other hall closet, a living room, and the kitchen. Right?
That's
for the
correct.
$2,300. So you're going to tell me that the kitchen represents a third of what I just said. It doesn't. I mean, the kitchen's a small part of that, so it's not going to be $800 for the kitchen. It's going to be something smaller.
And Your Honor, it was an empty, vacant condo, except for the kitchen. The kitchen cabinets had to be removed. The kitchen wallpaper had to be removed. The appliances had to be removed. So the major part of the job and the cost of the job should have been the kitchen.
I'm sorry. You expected the painter to move all the cabinets from the kitchen?
He asked if he could have them for his own
but
rental
wait, when does that
properties.
discussion happen?
After we entered the contract.
You then say to him, you can have all this stuff if you want it. Do you want this stuff? And he says, yeah, I got a use for it. I'll take it.
He asked, knowing that we were
Okay,
totally...
that's a separate agreement between you guys. That's not part of the contract. This is for painting that entire condo. That's what the $2,300 are for. Now, you know that you didn't finish this, so what is the reason that you didn't return any money for the kitchen paint?
Because there was extra work that needed to be done, and I didn't even complete all of that. Because I had charged them $350 to do the kitchen. I mean, they can get...
Well, you could say that to your blue in the face, but let me tell you, this is food for thought, folks, that whenever you have a contract that is like, that it encompasses many different things, it's a good idea to separate it out in the contract, to have it itemized. Not later on a list and then telling me they knew about it and they say, no, we didn't, but to have it itemized in your contract. Why? Because if there's a problem with part, you don't want to leave the judge in the position of figuring out what that part's worth. And it's actually in the contractor's best interest, too. All right, so what are these extra jobs that you were apparently billing, I guess, $340-something for?
I had to clean the place and vacuum it all up because it was very dusty. I couldn't paint over the dust. And then there was removal.
And you charge $145 for that?
Yes. And then
Really? You got to just go into that as a business. If cleaning and vacuuming, vacuuming is $145, the place was empty.
It was pretty dusty because it was an older
Let me
lady
just ask you a
that
question. Did
lived
they ever
there.
agree to pay you $145 for vacuuming?
No, I did not.
Okay, now go on. What else were you charging for in there?
Okay, and removal of all shelves that were there that she didn't want and patch all them holes.
Tell me about the shelves. Where are they?
There were some in the bedroom, and then there was stuff that was hanging on doors and closets.
Okay,
and
now that stuff, that didn't magically appear after you entered the contract, right?
No,
that stuff was there when you quoted the price, right? So why is it that they should pay extra for that? Why is that not part of the paint job to prep the place? Because it's obvious right there when you say, I'm going to paint that room, that there's a shelf there. They say, watch this, was all that supposed to be included?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, they say that, right? And when I look at the contract, it's not excluded. I look at the contract, it doesn't say that you're going to charge extra, and yet you have come now and said, no, that $350, the kitchen's only $350, and by the way, you owe me $2.44 because I'm going to decide that cleaning the area that I'm going to paint is worth $145 and taking out shelves is worth another $100 and God only knows what else in order to eat up the $350. Come on. Now, we have a different issue at hand, which is I've got to evaluate what the painting of the kitchen was worth. I don't agree with them that it's worth $800 because his last installment was $800, and at the time you hadn't done the kitchen. That's not the analysis, okay? I think that your analysis that it's worth around $300 to $400 is probably accurate. But here's the problem that I have. The problem that I have is that he ends up having to pay somebody else. Did you pay $600?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. He ends up having to pay somebody else $600 to do it, which may not be inaccurate because that guy only has this small job. You know what I'm saying? Right. So if he had a big job, he would charge less to do it. But now, because you've been hurt, which I realize is no fault of your own, but it's also, they didn't trip you on the ice, right? It's not their fault either. So in order to get the benefit of the bargain they had with you, in order to be made whole, I actually have to award him the $600 that he ended up paying the other guy. Now, there were also these light switches, which are the amount of $32.44 that he fronted that you agree should be deducted. And that's $600 minus the $32.44. And that's $567.56, okay? And that really, that analysis, everything I just discussed, of course, takes care of your counterclaim for $244, which I find zero, because I don't agree with you that you were able to deduct all that stuff. And so my net judgment in this case is in favor of the plaintiffs in the amount of $567.56, plus, of course, your court costs. Okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
It's worth repeating, never pay everything up front, period.